Okay everyone, this is a really quick podcast about using Photoshop for images, making layers and doing some fun effects. So we're going to try and get this done as fast as we can. This is the Mac version of Photoshop, which is CS6. The Windows version is almost identical. There's a few differences here and there, but we'll point it out as we go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new clipboard. And to make this nice and easy, I'm going to call this Fashion Image. On the drop down for the sizes, I'm going to go for default Photoshop size, and on pixels per inch, same centimeters. I like working in inches because that's just how I feel. I'm going to turn this up to 300. That gives us higher resolution images when we're editing. Think of it as going HD. So click OK, and we've got a nice little board over here. But there's no images, so File, Open, and if I just go down here, I'm going to find, yep, that's the image I want to edit. So click Open, and there we are. Now we'll see that this image is on a different sort of board to what we want to edit on. In fact, we can pull this down, let it go, and it floats around in its own way. Or bring it up to the top, and it will snap back in. But it's not on our board. So with the Move tool in the top left, we just click on here with the mouse held down, drag it up to the top, keeping the mouse key down, bring the mouse into the center, and release. And there we are. Now you can see that she is not in the right place. She's actually too big. So if I hold down the Command key on Windows, it's Control. And with that held down, press the minus key, we zoom out. With the plus key, we zoom in. Nice little function there. Good thing to do for hotkeys. So if we again hold down Command or Control, depending on what OS you're using, and tap T, you'll see this line appear. And that is the edge of the picture. So I can go, well, I want to get the top of her head in there, and I want to resize the rest. When you're resizing, if you hold down Shift, it means that no matter what you do with your mouse, the image will scale the same. I want to cut off the bottom of her foot, so I'm going to make it just about there. And let's just position it in the middle. That's good to me. And I'm going to click OK. Before I click OK, you might see the image goes a bit fuzzy. That's fine because in transformations, which is what resizing is, you get lower resolution images. So don't worry about it being fuzzy, just click the tick there. And we're finished, and the resolution goes back to normal. Unfortunately at the moment, this image is a bit too small to work on, so I could hold down Command and I could zoom in, but the easiest way to do it, especially if we're really zoomed out a long way, is go to View, Fit on Screen. And it just zooms the entire board to fit the screen, whatever it is. These white bits either side I don't really like, so I'm going to get rid of them. Actually, I'm going to make the whole board smaller. So on the left here, we have a nice little crop function. Now notice that all these little buttons on the side have little triangles next to them. If you hold down the left mouse button, it gives you other options you could do. Now, we're not going to cover these tools here, like Perspective, really cool tool, but not for today. So we just make sure the crop is selected. And we see this outline on the screen there. Now, just take one of these tabs and drag it over, and it will actually snap the edge of the picture you got there. I'm going to do that, so it's snapping around. And I'm going to cut a bit more of her foot off because, you know, I can. So I'm going to go, that's good for me, I like this picture. And a little bit off the top too. Yeah. And that hand on the side's a bit annoying, so I'm going to actually, let's bring it in there. Now, that's roughly what I think will make a good image. Take the knee off as well. Okay, so click OK. And we've resized the clipboard to fit what we want. Back on the Move tool there, make everything nice and easy. On the left here, sorry, my mistake, on the right, we'll see a little box around the picture there. And this is called a layer. Now, if we click on the eye, that layer turns off, click it on, it comes back. We can put new layers by this button here. It's like a piece of paper with the corner turned over. Click that. And we've got a sheet above. Now, you haven't seen any changes in the picture here. That's because when you insert layers, they're defaulted to being see-through. But if I go to Edit and Fill, let's choose a colour. I'm going to choose something green. Click OK. It fills that layer with green. You see that little icon change. So we've got like a green piece of paper over our work. I can turn this off and you can see the layer below, turn that one off, you see the layer below that, which is the background, turn the background off and you've got a checkerboard. Checkerboard means see-through. So we're going to turn that back on and that on, and I'm going to get rid of this layer. If you right click, delete layer, that works well. So I'm going to rename this one room. You do that by double clicking on the text. Nice and easy. So we need to make another copy of her so we can play the background without editing her. And you do this by different ways. You could right click and say duplicate layer, or we can just drag it down here to where we made the new layer before, release, and we've got a copy. Double click that and we'll call it woman. If we turn off the top layer, we'll see nothing changes because the top layer is identical to the bottom layer. Whereas if I was to move this, oops, select this tool, turn on and move it, you can see the difference there. Okay, let's just undo that because frankly we want them to be the same. You'll see why in a second. So let's turn on the top one and leave the second one. What we need to do is we need to remove everything but her. On the left here, there's a cool tool called Magnetic Lasso. It's in the third one down. Again, if we hold down onto the left mouse button, we see Lasso tool, Polygon, Magnetic. Now, Lasso tool is you can capture stuff. So I hold down the left mouse button, and as long as I'm holding down, I can draw around. So I'm going to draw around to the head and get to the end, release, and everything in that shape is now selected. So it's a freehand tool, really good for some things, but if you try and imagine getting precisely around her, it's going to be difficult. So again, we need to deselect. So Command key on Mac or Control key on Windows, hold it down and tap D. Different tool, Polygon Lasso. This is very similar to the original Lasso, but rather than being click and hold, you click once, you go a straight line, click again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and back, so it's everything in that shape. Again, really cool for geometric cutout, not very good for her. So let's deselect that, so Command D, Control D. So the last one I'm going over is Magnetic Lasso. This is my favourite one because you can do some great things really easily. These little tools at the top, don't worry too much about them. If things aren't working properly for you, like for example, I'll take the width down to 1 pixel. Okay. You'll see that the way this tool works is you click on a point and you're dragging it along a shape and it snaps to the outside edge. Now with 1 pixel you can see just about, it's not being very precise, and we go off into a shoulder bit, it's not doing it, it's still cutting a shoulder, so it's not very good. I click, and got rid of it, it's not very good. So let's take the width up here to 10 pixels. Which means it will look about 10 pixels either side of where you are and try and find the best edge. So here we've got a good sharp edge. Let's just do that and you'll see it's now capturing her arm very nicely. So not going to be too precise here. Oops, little mouse click problem there. Let's just take the mouse and you're not holding anything down on the mouse, you're just letting it slide. Get into her hair, it's quite a sheer corner, so if you click once, you drop an anchor, and lets you go up her hair, so that's it. Now you'll see that I'm not doing a particularly great job at collecting her hair. We can do another video at another time on using this tool really well, but you know, it's good enough for now, because for this bit of coursework, it's only about basic Photoshop skill. So we just take this mouse all the way around. Now you see it's caught his shirt bit a second ago. That's completely fine. I'll show you why in a second. Now we're going to carry on doing this. And it's getting a bit boring now and then doing it. Get to her where legs meet, click, because you've got a point, and just bring it around. Once again, you see the line jumping around a bit. We're fine. This is a very quick, simple bit of work. We're not looking for industrial practices here. It's just learning the basics. And needs a bit of a sheer bit there. So let's do that. There we go. Click there. The hand. Click, click. Get to the end, and you'll notice when I reach the end, a small circle appears in the bottom right of the icon. Just about to see it there. That means you're clicking on the start, the original part. So click there, and you'll see. There we are. Now, what you see what's happened is it's smoothed its way around, see? It's really smoothed off the areas, which is this thing here, the feathering. So it's taken like a sharp bit there, and said let's have a 30 pixel radius. So I'm going to take this down to 5 pixels, make it nice and small. Now I'm going to do this again, and it'll jump forward in the video, so you won't skip it. But I want to show you this just so you know what these two important bits do. Okay, so I've now gone through again on the 5 pixel feather with anti-alias on, and you'll see it's got a much smoother way. Now, there's still some bits that are not perfect, so we're going to zoom in, do a little bit of touch-up work, so you can actually use this in your real way. Remember, we're not going for perfection here, we want it to be okay. So we're going to zoom in, so remember Command or Control and plus, and we can see here that her hair has been missed off. So I'm going to choose the Polygon tool, and if I hold down the Shift button, you'll see that my symbol has a little arrow in there. So holding down Shift, I'm going to click from there. There we go. And then back on the other side, doesn't matter where we go. And when you get to the end, it'll snap, and it's added that bit in. Okay. Okay, what we're going to do here is we've got a similar situation, but rather than bits not being captured, it's captured a bit too much. So we'll see here that her hands have been captured as well as her leg when we use the magnetic tool. And we don't want that, so what we're going to do is remove this section. The way we do that is with the, again, Polygon tool, because it's a nice and easy one to use. We could use, actually no, yeah, we'll use the regular, let's see. And you'll see if you hold down the Alt key, get a negative symbol. So hold down the Alt key, I'm going to draw, yeah, capture a leg, and then around, so you're looping it around, I don't want this bit. Release, Alt key, release key, your mouse key, and you'll see that it's disappeared. So it's nice and easy. Okay, we're going to do the same thing again here, and you see that the area between her legs has not been cut. So what we're doing here is we're taking things away. So we use the Alt key again. So with the Polygon, we're going to just take away. So click, release Alt, and there we are. So here we have a pretty good selection. We can zoom up and down, we can see that most of her has been captured pretty well. It's not professional quality, but it's good enough what we're doing here. So to see all of her, view this on screen, and there we have it. So that's quite nice and easy. Now this is a really important thing for you to know. Photoshop is very amazing at doing incredible edits to images, but it does have a lot of options. And now and then you might come into some which make you think, oh god, what's going on? Now, we've got her selected and we can see her full screen. And to make sure we do this there. So, full screen. Now, I want to have just her. Now, the normal way of doing this is, with the layer selected, you click a button called Layer Mask. And layer masks add transparency. Now, that's what we're adding here. And because we've got her selected, we're going to make everything but her transparent and see-through. And I click on that, you'll see it's gone a bit strange because we've got a bit of blending around the knees and around the edges. It's not very attractive. So I'm going to go and undo that, which is Command Z or Control Z, and we're back here. Now, if we go back to our lasso tool we had before, click Refine Edges, we see the image we saw a second ago. And it's these options we can play with. Now, best thing to do is spend a bit of time playing with these options so you understand what they do. But the most important one I'll point out here is contrast. So we take this one and slide it along. Let's go to 100%. You'll see it's got a very defined, solid edge there. That might be what you're looking for, maybe not. We can just smooth things out a bit. So, and if you take it to 100, you can see the edge is a lot smoother than we have there. So I think that's a bit too smooth. I'm going to go for about there. And feathering again. This is kind of the sort of softness, radius stuff. If we take it up to 100, she disappears. 1,000 pixels. So do we want to have some feathering on there? Maybe a little bit. It's basically giving it extra bit of outline. Actually, I'm going to take it off. Contrast, take that down a little bit. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that is. It's not incredible. You can play with this and learn more about it in a different video. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to click Layer Mask, and we'll see. There we have it. That's what the image we had before. And it's on a white background because the background there is turned on, and the room is there. So everything now is turned on, and we can turn her on and off, on and off. Can't see anything because she is separate. But again, if we move this top layer to the side, we see where she is. But let's undo that back there. So let's do some fun stuff. So with the room, we want to add some pink and some blue. I want to have like a pink burst where she's coming from. So I'm going to add a new layer just above the room layer, and I'm going to fill it with a colour. So edit, fill, and colour selected. Now, if I take my mouse off there, it goes to a dropper, and you can see what we have here. So that pink's pretty cool. So select that, OK, OK. So I've dropped a pink bomb over behind her. That's not very good. I want to make it turn this background pink. So we go on, I can select the blending option, which I'm going to go for overlay. Now, the good thing to do, you can play around with these things a lot. You can go for, we can go for pin light. So yeah, have play with these until you find the kind of lighting effect that you think works really well. That is actually really cool. I like that a lot, but it's not what we want. So let's go for, actually what we could just do, we could just go for normal, and we take the opacity and make it see-through. That works as well. I mean, that's a very valid way of doing it. So for now, we're going to do that. To make the background there good. But this is solid pink, it's not the kind of pink we want. So we want to add transparency. So we add another layer mask. This default one's, by default, you don't get anything. So we've got layer mask there. We want to add a gradient, so it goes from solid to nothing. So we select the gradient tool, which is just there, and from solid to nothing. So we are, that's one way around. So we'll play it again, go reverse direction, and we'll see that we've had a bit of a pink spike. And then you can go, oh, I want to change my mind, I want to go for luminosity at 100%, and you can see it's not really done what I want. But when I select colour, that drops DOM in a beautiful way. That's absolutely fantastic. Take it down, so it's a bit softer, so that's very good. Now let's add some big blue to the left of her. So do it the same way. So add a layer, edit, fill, and the colour. Let's choose, I don't know, that blue there. Okay. Oops. Edit, fill. Colour, and we're going to choose that blue from there. You see it's selected there. I'm actually going to make it a bit different, tweak it a bit. Click OK. Got our blue. Let's drop down. Let's go for colour, and let's go for layer mask. Let's do some gradient, and again, you can just do things, and we can, by doing it that way, you've seen we've blended. Now we've got. You can see that if we put the pink at the top, the pink's blending over the blue. And if we put the blue at the top, the blue's blending over the pink. I quite like that. So we'll see that. But again, it's a bit harsh. I'm going to take that down there. So we've got her on a now edited background. I want to make something quite fun, so I'm going to copy this woman layer to there. And I'm going to go filter. Blur, motion blur. This is a real fun tool to make someone look like a ghost, but they're moving really fast. So I'm going to select it so that we've got, yeah, that's kind of cool. And that isn't very good where it is, but if we just pull it down, we have a bit of blur around her. You can just about see it's a subtle effect. It's like a halo of her. The good thing about doing this is that you actually are giving the colours of the woman herself. Now there's loads and loads of filters, loads of tools we can play with another time. I mean, another way of doing things is image, adjustments, curves. This one might be light and dark. Not going into this because it's a bit too much work, but I can just play with things like I can make that. I think that that's quite a nice bit of extra darkness. I could maybe take her again, image, adjustments, desaturate, black and white. and then make it into an overlay and take this down. So you're actually adding higher contrast. It's quite a nice thing. So those are just a few very basic effects we've done to make the image stand out. So we've got a really cool thing here. This is now something you can put into your coursework magazine as an edited image and play around with Photoshop more, explore filters, explore layers, explore transparencies, but this is a path to go down. So I hope you enjoyed this, hope it's useful. So thanks a lot and good luck.